Okay, let's talk about one of the most terrifying paradoxes in all of medicine. We're talking about a disease that, once it takes hold, is a 100% guaranteed death sentence. And yet, it's a disease we know exactly how to stop dead in its tracks. So today, we're going to dive into the science, the sheer scale of the problem, and the simple, life-saving steps that can make all the difference. This right here, this is the face of rabies. It's a viral disease, a tiny, relentless little thing that jumps from animals to humans, usually through a bite or even just a scratch. It's ancient, it is deeply feared, and frankly, it's hiding in plain sight all over the world. And this is the paradox, the absolute core of the rabies story. Once you start showing symptoms, it is 100% fatal. There's no cure, no going back. But, and this is a huge but, if you get the right medical care and you get it quickly after being exposed, it is 100% preventable. It's this terrifying race against the clock where the stakes could not possibly be higher. So you're probably thinking, if it's so preventable, why is it even a big deal? Well, because this isn't some rare disease from the history books. It is a massive, ongoing, and honestly, an often overlooked global crisis. Get this. Every single year, 60,000 people die from rabies. To put that in perspective, that's more than 6 deaths every single hour from a disease that we know how to prevent. It's just staggering. And what is just absolutely heartbreaking is who this disease hits the hardest. A shocking 40% of all those deaths, they're children under the age of 15. Think about it. They're more likely to play with animals, maybe less likely to tell an adult about a bite, and they end up being the most vulnerable victims. And the problem is huge, spanning over 150 countries, mostly in Asia and Africa. But here's the kicker. The source is incredibly specific. For all the fear about bats or raccoons, 99%, almost all human cases come from one single source, the bite of an infected dog. Which really means this is an animal control problem just as much as it's a human medicine problem. And if you want to see just how bad this can get on the ground, just look at Cambodia. It's one of the hardest-hit countries in the world. Recent data shows that a mind-blowing 65% of animals tested there for the virus were positive. The threat isn't just possible, it's constant. So what is actually happening when the virus gets inside you? What makes it so incredibly deadly? Well, this is where that race against time really begins. Okay, so from the moment of the bite, the virus starts this slow, stealthy journey. This is what's called the incubation period. It can last for weeks, months, sometimes even years, though the average is about 1 to 3 months. And during this whole time, you feel completely fine. But the virus isn't sleeping. It's quietly creeping along your nerves, heading for your brain. And once it reaches the central nervous system, the game is over. Symptoms appear, and death is, at that point, inevitable. Now, when the virus finally makes its presence known, it usually does so in one of 2 distinct ways. You can think of them as the 2 clinical phases of this devastating disease. About 80% of the time, people get what's known as furious rabies. This is the one you probably picture when you think of rabies: agitation, aggression, and those classic terrifying signs of hydrophobia, a fear of water, and aerophobia, a fear of air. And these are just psychological fears. They happen because trying to swallow causes these intensely painful spasms in the throat. It's truly horrific. Then there's the other 20% of cases. This is called paralytic or dumb rabies. It's way less dramatic, but it is just as fatal. It can actually look like other neurological problems, with this slow paralysis that starts at the bite and just spreads up the body, eventually leading to a coma and then death. So after hearing all of that, the question is pretty obvious, right? If you get bitten by an animal that you even think might have rabies, is it already too late? Is there any hope at all? And the answer, thankfully, is a resounding yes. There is hope, but you have to act. You absolutely have to win that race against the virus before it gets anywhere near your brain. All right, so let's shift gears and talk about the solution. Let's talk about the incredible medical tool that turns a 100% fatal disease into a 100% preventable one. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's called post-exposure prophylaxis, or just PEP for short. And the words post-exposure are the key. This is a treatment you get after you've already been bitten. It's designed to go in, find the virus, and completely neutralize it long before it can do any real damage. So here it is, the whole story in one simple chart. Look at this difference.
If you wait until you have symptoms, the outcome is 100% fatal. No exceptions. But if you get PEP and you get it promptly, you have a 100% chance of survival. The choice is literally life or death, and it all comes down to one thing: getting to a doctor right away.
Okay, this is probably the most important part of this whole thing. If you or anyone you know ever gets bitten or scratched by an animal, any animal you're not 100% sure about, this is the simple, life-saving plan you need to burn into your memory.
It really just boils down to 3 steps. 1. Wash the wound, and I mean really wash it. 2. Get a course of the rabies vaccine. And 3. If the doctor says it was a severe exposure, you get an injection of something called rabies immunoglobulin, or RIG, right there at the wound site.
Now, it's not like every little interaction needs the whole shebang. Doctors have a clear system, kind of like this flowchart here, to figure out exactly what treatment you need based on what happened. So you can see here they break it down into categories. Category I, like just touching an animal or it licks your intact skin, you don't need to do anything. Category 2, that's a minor scratch or a nibble, but no bleeding. You need to wash the wound and get the vaccine. But Category 3, that's any bite that breaks the skin or a lick on broken skin, that requires all 3 steps: wash, vaccinate, and the RIG. But please, if you remember nothing else, remember this. No matter what category it is, the very first thing you do is always the same. Wash that wound immediately, thoroughly, for at least 15 straight minutes with soap and water. That simple action can physically remove a lot of the virus and is your critical first line of defense. And so we end right back where we started. Every year, 60,000 people, a huge number of them children, die from a disease that we have all the tools to prevent. The real tragedy of rabies isn't the virus itself, it's the gap between what we know and what we actually do. The question isn't whether we can beat rabies, it's whether we will.